Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Thursday. I am super excited for day 4 of the Next Level Women in Conference event. Woohoo! Please drop some comments below about the things that you've learned, how you're feeling. I am super excited for us to be wrapping up this event with some 4 amazing speakers to today, to tomorrow. As always, we've got some amazing insights in store for you. Today, we're going to be kicking off speaking with Sherist Rodriguez, who is a trailblazing entrepreneur, philanthropist, community leader. Sherist is passionate about empowering leaders and CEOs to build profitable businesses by implementing strategies, systems, business operations that actually work. She knows about how to outsource consultants and how to staff the right people in order to continue to scale. So I am beyond excited for us to welcome Sherist Rodriguez as our next speaker.
Well, hello, everyone. I am so honored to be here today and to spend the next 45 minutes with you, sharing my story, but also helping you achieve the things that you are meant to achieve. So we are going to start today by building sassy, bold, and unstoppable businesses. I want to help you build, scale, and thrive, but on your terms, not on anyone else's. So my name is Sherist Rodriguez, and I am coining my own nickname of Coach Sassy. So today what I'll be covering is a little bit on how to gain clarity on your vision, your why, your greater purpose. I always love to start with things like that. I also want to go through breaking through limiting beliefs and fears that might hold you back. I want to help you learn how to automate systems to scale without burnout and discover a founding member launch that I use that could help you validate your offers and your services, but also to help you grow exponentially. And I want to have you walk away with some proven strategies that you can go build a business that you love. So a little bit about me. I've been in operations, virtual assistant, outsourcing world for over 30 years. 20 years on this business roller coaster, I call it, and 10 years internationally. I do have a business in the Philippines, and we serve businesses and entrepreneurs and coaches and everyone to help them reach their dreams. I'm the CEO of Pipeliner.io, which is a white label of Go HighLevel, and we empower enterprises, which is my coaching, consulting, and outsourcing business. I'm a self-taught entrepreneur. So if any of you are here with me, give me a woohoo. And I've been helping businesses scale globally with software, staffing, systems, support, all of that stuff. And I love to focus on people who want to create more impact in business, in other people's lives through their businesses and their enterprises. So let's start with first, I went from burnout to being bold and unstoppable. And when I say burnout, it was a few times, and I kept repeating those patterns. So hopefully today we are going to stop some of those patterns. But on the outside, it looked like I had everything together. It looked like I had the success, the money, the thriving business, but I was miserable. I was exhausted. I was overworked. I was completely disconnected from my own body and my own feelings. I was not living the life that I wanted. I was struggling and have struggled throughout my life with mental health issues, depression, anxiety. I also had inflammation issues and things that like SIRS and IBS that really got in the way of me being my full, present, bold, embodied self. So I shut down a couple times, and eventually my body actually did shut down. So I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, it's never enough and you feel further and further from freedom? Let's face it, freedom is why we get into business, correct? So I realized the reason I was exhausted wasn't because I wasn't working hard enough. It was because I was working the wrong way. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. After years of struggling, I finally figured it out. And I want to help you escape that burnout and actually thrive. But there's three things that I needed to start focusing on in my life and in my business. Number one was mindset. So today we will start with mindset and going from that overwhelmed operator. You've heard that, like you need to be the CEO of your business and not the operator, to being empowered. The other thing is health. Without great health, it is really hard to be a thriving you. Therefore, without a thriving you, there is no thriving business. And you can go up and down through those roller coasters like I have. And the other part is the business operations and automations. You need to build a business that runs itself so that you can live the way you want and travel and do all the things that you want to do in life. Okay, so business will get hard. And sometimes we can't help it. Things are going to happen. And so for me, the most important thing is to know your why, because your why is the one thing that's going to keep you moving regardless of what's happening in your life. What I like to tell everyone is your why should make you cry. So I start to think of who is counting on me to succeed. So who's counting on you to succeed? Do you have family? Do you have a legacy? Do you have employees? Do you have a greater mission or vision that you want to achieve in life? Whose life? Another question, whose life will you change because of you doing the things that you need to do? Because you don't refuse to give up, because you are building this business, because you have things in people's lives to change. And again, business isn't always about the money. I have found that the more I think about the legacy and the impact that I will have and I will leave, the more happy, the more joyous, the more vibrancy I bring to my business. So does your purpose give you the necessary drive to make you want to follow through? So this is where I say your why should make you cry. On those days that you just feel like giving up, will you think about your why, and will that help you push through? That's what I want you to think about when you think about your why. It's to be so embedded in you that when things get rough, you pick yourself right back up and you get going. And again, is it emotionally compelling? Like it brings so much emotions to you, whether it's happy or sad. Oftentimes I like to look at like, what happens if I don't succeed? What happens if I lose it all? What happens if I don't become the mother, the example that I want to be? Like, what impact does that have? And a lot of times I don't feel like it has a great impact. I definitely don't want to die without having reached the impact that I am meant to be here on earth. And I know that you probably feel the same way. So my why, my kids, right? And so for some of you, your kids may be that too. I was a single mom. I had little support. I really didn't have the freedom to be able to take them to all their baseball games and to go to all their school events. And I found that a business was part of the drive and the vehicle for me to have some freedom to be able to do those things. And yes, work my butt off nights and weekends and all the other times we weren't doing it. But I got to be at everything I needed to be for my kids. And so I'm going to stop and ask you right now, what is your why? Have you really thought about what your why is? And I want you to write that down because that is going to be so important for you. The other thing I love to talk about is, and to teach and to coach, are drivers. So what are the vehicles that you're driving to get to your why? And so a lot of those things for me have been around impact. Like I want to change lives. I want to change lives. I want to help people change lives. And guess what? In business, we get to change lives, and I get to help too, even if it's through me helping someone else's business grow. I feel like that ripple effect of the impact that I want, I can see it ripple out in clients, in people, in the charity work I do, and whatever it is, right? So that's number one for me. Income. I had an issue with money before because I grew up with no money, and I didn't think I was worthy of money. And I thought, I had some of that old mindset where, you get a lot of money and bad things happen and all sorts of stuff. And so I had to come to a point where I realized money will fuel my impact. Without money, it is really hard to make the impact that you want to make, to grow the way you want to grow, to do the things you want to do. So income became one of my drivers because without that, I am I am going to die without reaching my impact that I want to have. And that's the reality. So I need money, right? We need money. But I also needed the freedom. So part of my drivers, and I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs, these are very high in their list of things that drive them, right? The freedom to be able to do what you want. I'm currently living in Mexico and I will be leaving shortly to go somewhere else. And then I'm headed to Puerto Rico. And then, I just get to go wherever I want to go because I've created that freedom within my business and within my life. And you can do that too. So we all start with business for freedom and income, but the real magic is the impact that we can create, right? So I was able, while living in the Philippines, to build an orphanage through my business, through the things that I was doing. And so when I talk about the impact, this was a dream I thought that I could never or would never achieve, but let alone think that I would do it in my 40s. And so that when you are solely connected with a bigger cause, something that's bigger than you will do more. We do more for others than we do for ourselves, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. So think about it. I'm going to ask you this, write this down. What impact do you want to create? My son is here with me. He goes and visits the orphanage all the time in the Philippines. And it's the most beautiful thing that I could say about my legacy, that I've left this for my kids to continue to do and for the community to be able to do what we do to support all these children in the Philippines. So what impact do you want to create in the world, right? Be clear about that. It's so important. So overall, we're going to switch a little bit because many times people think that business is a problem, but really it's most of the time a mindset problem. You have to remember the thoughts that you have become your reality. Now, mind you, I've been through this many times, and even as an NLP coach, I get stuck in my thoughts, and my thoughts start to paint who I am and what I'm doing at the moment, what I'm feeling, what I'm believing, all of that, right? And so when your thoughts become a reality, you start to believe that. And then that's what you create. You're creating what you're believing. And so within yourself, even if you struggle, you've got to change your thoughts about certain things, right? And so changing things around your business, around your mindset, around everything, right? And when you start to have negative feelings come in, how do you switch that so that you can be in a beautiful state so that you can create beautiful things? So I want to take you through a visualization really quick. So I want you all to close your eyes. Bear with me. We won't take long. It'll be less than 60 seconds. I want you to close your eyes and I want to visualize what ultimate success looks like to you. And it doesn't mean business, in life. I want you to picture, what does life look like on your terms? How do you look? How do you feel? What kind of work are you doing? How are you expressing yourself? Where are you living? What are you telling yourself when you can vision this person who's got it all the things you want in your life, whether it's the house, the vacations, the impact, whatever it is? How do you feel? How are you standing? I want you to visualize yourself. I want you to breathe deeply. And I want you to think about, what would a person that has it all say to themselves? What stories are they telling themselves? How's your body? How's your confidence? Are you bold and confident? How does it feel to be successful? I want this to be your baseline when you walk into doing everything and anything you do that lights you up in your life and in your business. How does it feel if you were to wake up like that every single day? So go ahead and open your eyes and let's go in through the next few minutes, going through our mindset and breaking free of the things that stop us. Number one, fear. Fear is one of the things that gets behind everything we do. Trust me, I lived with a broken down nervous system for most of my life, and I'm still working on my nervous system because I lived in so much fear as a child that it rolled over, and I didn't even realize experiences that were happening to me or had happened to me as a child were affecting me as an adult, but more so it affected me as a leader, as a business owner. It affected the way I showed up. And so being able to think about like what is getting in your way and just knocking it down. So the biggest competitor is your self-doubt. Is your self-doubt, is your fear. Those are the things you need to worry about. You don't need to worry about competitors. Um, Fear, anything from like being afraid to not speak up, being afraid to close a deal, to get on a Zoom, it doesn't matter. It's fear behind it. Anytime you think you're stuck, you're overwhelmed, you don't think it's going to work, it's fear. That's all to it, right? So be resourceful. Stop making excuses from holding you back. When you feel fear, step into it. When you feel fear, know that that is your cue to step up and step in and do what it is that you're fearful of. That's when we create magic. So here are some mindset shifts I want to go over so that you can yourself reprogram. So whenever you start to think, I'm not ready, think, okay, I'll learn as I go. When you say, I need a huge audience to launch, nope, I just need the right first customers. I need to know everything. No, you don't. You just need a gosh darn good offer. You need a very good offer. I need the perfect product. No, you need to launch. I need to launch. I need to launch. I need to launch, right? You say it over and over and over again. People won't pay for this. Oh, people pay for solutions. So build a solution that people will pay for. I wouldn't pay for this. Well, guess what? You're not the customer. So stop thinking you are and go build what your customers need. No one will buy from me. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So start building trust and getting people to like you. I mean, you know what I mean. Do things that people will like you for. Give away free advice. Do a YouTube channel. Do videos, something, right? I'm all alone. And I know this is a big one that I went through, but you're not. You've got to leverage the community, the network. What we have here in Go High Level is unbelievable and like nothing other that I've ever seen in my 30 years of business. All right, so speaking of business, let's get down to business. I went to an event January of 2024. I had hit almost a rock bottom. My business was shifting. I had given up everything for an opportunity, and it was absolutely miserable. And I found myself back to losing it again, and in a place where I was unhappy. And I bumped into these guys, right? Rob and Ruheene, and they actually helped me out to get through some issues that I had. And I had been paying for a SaaS for 2 years and hadn't launched it. And then Paulson, I chased him down. It's kind of a funny story I love to talk about. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in. Or, I mean, I want to launch SaaS. So what do I do? And he's like, you got to go all in. And I'm like, well, but I have a business and I'm running this and I'm doing that. He's like, well, then you need to decide. You got to go all in. That was a pivotal moment in me, is where I kept latching on to all these things that didn't make me happy. And I wasn't going all in on the things that truly made me happy and the things that I had been putting on the side for a while. So I made that decision then and there. And I left it all behind because I wanted to reclaim my energy, my health, and I wanted to realign with my purpose again. So end of January, I decided to go all in. This is January of 2024. And I finally was going to launch the SaaS. On February, we set up the SaaS. I developed a launch strategy. In March, we launched what we call our founding member offer. And in the month of March alone, we got 26 accounts on our SaaS. The thing is we aimed for 25, but we forgot to turn off the switch, right? And so one person slipped in, and after that we closed. And there were people waiting for when we reopened, but we closed so that we could serve and learn. So sometimes when you launch, it isn't about, like the money. It's not about everything. It's about how do you grow from that? We figured the 25, 26 first people were going to give us the experience we needed. I didn't have SaaS experience. I didn't have a big community that would be interested in this, but I created such an irresistible offer and wanted to tell people, or told people that you're going to come in on a founding member offer with something new that I'm building. And it created so much momentum. And I'll go over a little bit more later. But 2 months later, I had a traumatic brain injury right in the middle of onboarding 25 people. It was the most devastating time, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. And I, to this day, have still not let that stop me. In August, we onboarded another 25. And in August, 10 months later, we got the gold award for 100 subscribers. So look at what could be done when you put your mind to it, right? When you make those mindset shifts and you decide and commit, that's it. It's over. You can do anything. So like I said, I didn't have reputation in SaaS. I had a small audience. I really had no experience in a lot of the features in Go High Level. And to be quite honest, I still don't. I focus on what I'm good at. That's one of the things Paulson said. Build it around something you're really great at. And I'm like, I'm great at operations. That I could offer. And I had no brand authority, right? But I still got 26 people. This is what happens when you align with your purpose. Magic actually happens. And now I have a business that frees me instead of trapping me. I am so delighted in what I do that I get to help purpose-driven coaches, experts, holistic practitioners create more income and impact and freedom because I know that's what they want. And I also am now helping SaaSpreneurs do the same. And it just lights me up if you can't tell. Okay, so let's talk about how powerful, HighLevel is for helping us build freedom. Before HighLevel, businesses were chained, dozens of tools and automations from like MailChimp and Calendly and having to do everything manually. We have this amazing tool where we can combine everything in one place, one platform that does it all to rule them all. I built automations for appointments, sales funnels, email marketing, course hosting, community management. Those have been really some of the main things that I focus with my subscribers. And then helping them design businesses that support their ideal life. So how do you take, for me, how do I take what they want and what's taking them a long time and streamlining that and streamlining it in systems and then helping them also be able to utilize our VA agency or other VAs, right? Or anything so that you're not stuck doing it all. I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of entrepreneurs we have is that we get stuck in we need to do it all. And then a lot of times people don't know how to delegate, right? And so it becomes a nightmare because you're giving tasks to someone and you're not giving proper instructions and SOPs and all of that. And, one of the things I like to say, and please don't take offense, but a lot of times entrepreneurs and business owners believe that like a VA is this magic thing that's just going to come and take everything off your plate and be able to read our minds and do everything we need them to do the way we would do it. And that doesn't happen unless we train them really well. So possible, but it takes time. So going forward, I want to talk about some strategies that I used to grow my SaaS. I'm going to focus on this one because this is what I've been doing for the last year. So number one, creating an irresistible founding member offer. I did mention that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But number one is to create that founding member offer. Number two is to create a simple launch strategy. So I don't know about you, but how many of you like to make things complicated? Me. So when I stopped making things complicated and did a simple strategy, I actually have something I call a KISS map, keep it simple, stupid, massive action plan or strategy. I'm sorry, keep it simple strategy. and massive action plan. And so now my strategies are so simple, and I help people like just bam, get those together. And so thinking of how are you going to launch, or maybe not launch, maybe it's a growth plan strategy or a marketing strategy, like wherever you're at in your business, that's the, you always want to strategize first and then implement. We use webinars and direct outreach. And, we know that there's lots of people in the community that are using webinars as a wonderful way. I don't want to have to do a whole lot of one-on-ones. So I host webinars once or twice a month, sometimes more, depending if they're on different topics. And I'm just inviting people into those. I've been doing that. Like I started my first webinar series back in, gosh, I don't know, it was a long time ago, but like 20 years ago, where I had to have a developer create a place to host things. Like there was no Go HighLevel. I had my own little mini platform that I had to upload to that he created with code. Like who does that, right? Okay, so then we also did high touch onboarding at the beginning of the launch, because that's where you learn so much, and that's where we got so many referrals, right? So when you are first growing or launching, you really want to be hands-on, and you want to over deliver so that they'll give you referrals, and so that they become rating fans. So your goal is to create rating fans. So an irresistible offer must have a clear and simple offer. Like don't confuse anybody. Make it simple. Make sure it's a win-win for you and the client. The last thing you want to do is put an offer out there that you don't feel comfortable with anymore, and you end up regretting it, right? It doesn't feel good to you, but guess what? Your client feels that too. And so does your community, and so does everybody around you, right? So that mindset has to be, if you did an offer that you're not so excited about later on, gosh, put some good energy to it, change your mindset, deliver. We did that. We over delivered way too much on our founding member offer. I probably wouldn't do it exactly the same again, but you know what? We did it, we committed, and here we are. So make it so simple that they have to say yes to, like, make it low risk, high value, the things we hear about. And so the founding member launch that I really specialize in and love doing, it's something that creates excitement and urgency. A founding member launch also creates exclusivity, like a group of people that have come together to be the founding members. Like people just love to be a part of that. I love being a part of founding member launches. They're early adapters, so they get first access. And that's how I like to say, like, nobody else is getting access. I close my doors after the first founding member launches. It builds loyalty, client relations, and community. So my community of founding members are so beautiful. And so you could do the same, and where you continue to pour into that community, and they themselves uplift each other. It helps to bring in instant cash flow if you're doing a founding member offer. And then there's some verbiage you can use to do this, like as a founding member, your input directly impact the direction of the platform, and different things that you can use to bring in your founding members. This is a quick screenshot of what my founding member offer was for HighLevel when we launched for Pipeliner. So you can take a look at that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but the first 11, we said, we're going to go all in. We're going to build. Like the first 11, we built their websites for them. We did their automations for them. We got them up and running and had wins. And those 11 people brought me the next 25. And the rest is history, because everybody was bringing people to my webinars, and micro influencers then brought people over. And so those 11 were the most important people that I brought on. And so I suggest trying that too. So when we're talking about a strategy, focus on the first 10. Ours ended up being 11. And so who do you already know that likes and trusts you already, right? Who are people in your network? Who needs a solution right now? Think of those. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't start trying to think of like a whole campaign and da da da. These are the 3 things you need to first go to in your internal network. And in there, you can start finding out who's a micro influencer, who has the potential to come on, right? Or to come and help you build or to build on your system or whatever offer you have. Again, I did webinars. So I did the one-to-many, but I educated, right? So give, build trust and then convert. Leverage micro influencers. That's something that I love to do. I try to find somebody who has a community, will invite me onto their platform to speak or bring people onto mine. And then, help tongue twisted, help them so they can help you referral strategy, right? Help your people so that they could help you. It works like a charm almost every time. Direct outreach. This is, some of the ways I emailed people, I DM'd, and I text messaged people I knew, and I personally was inviting them to join. I did group onboarding, so that way it wasn't, especially when we were bringing in like 25 or 30 people at a time, group onboarding saved me. And then for those that needed more touch points, we did one-on-ones for them. And then for us, we invested in 24/7 support once we hit the 25 mark, right, for a SaaS. Now, I know not all of you are building SaaSes. Some of you have other things. So maybe when you hit the 25, that's when you need to start growing your team. You know your numbers. I'm just giving you mine. But, however you grow your team and your support or your services, just know, if you know ahead of time when that is, then it just makes it so much easier. Creating raving fans, giving your early adopters more value, surprising them with bonuses. I love to do that. I love to say, hey, I just built this. Would you guys like it? And everybody's like, I would love that. So makes it fun. Make sure you create a wow experience when you're onboarding them. We also created on-demand videos that were personalized for like our system and who we are. Instead of seeing some of those like other videos, they get to see us where they connect more with us then. And then build a community, not just a product. This is on everything we do. We really need to move away from like, oh, my service, my product, and think about like, I'm building a community that uses my services and products. I think I have some of this duplicated. So recognize an award and then stay engaged. Like I really made sure at the beginning stages that I was messaging people, and I send out links for them to do a 15-minute touch base with me or a 30-minute success call, especially my founding members, so that I make sure that I keep them connected in with me. So this may not sound like a lot to you all, but to jump into a business that cost $500 a month, and in the first month of launch, which would be month 2, to bring in $13,000 wasn't bad. I mean, and the thing was, we weren't doing ads, we weren't doing all, a bunch of other stuff. I mean, these are great numbers to bring in 26 clients in 30 days. And so this is what it looked like. This helped us then take some of those annual subscriptions and invest in having a team so that we weren't completely overwhelmed and needing to do everything, because I'm the queen of delegating, so we don't do that. So then after we found those 25, now is the time that you might want to niche down. And that's when I really decided the majority of my clients were coaches and holistic practitioners and experts, and they needed to transition into scalable models. And so that's when I decided that I was going to build a system for them to go from the one-to-one overwhelm to automated freedom. And so most of our clients, I noticed, they were stuck in the one-to-one, and they really did want to do cohorts and group coaching programs. So we developed, right? Listen to your people. What do they want? What do they need? We developed a program we call Launch Profitable Cohorts, and it's a 4-week program. The course is already made and in the vault, right? In the system for those when they come in, but we probably 4 times a year. This will be our second one. We'll probably do it 4 times a year. We do like it's a 4-week journey, and we guide them. So we get on a Zoom and everybody can come in and ask questions. They watch the videos, the instructions, and we guide them through getting everything ready, from their branding to their messaging to their course to creating the webinar, launching the webinar, helping them practice, whatever they need in that month to be able to launch. And we use, Go HighLevel to do it all. We automate payments, the onboarding, the forms, the everything, the open the course a couple days before. And so that goal was then to move that into something that we could offer separately in the future. And that is exactly what we started doing now. And how did we scale to 100? I mentioned earlier that we got to 100. Well, we had to automate the onboarding and support. Some of that we did ourselves, and then some of that we do delegate out. We now also increase the pricing, right? Once we hit the 25, we increase the pricing. We leveraged our clients. And once I hit the 100, I found so much joy in expanding into different audiences and different niches. And so I'm working on a few other things that are going to be fun. But yeah, I love the SaaS journey so much that this month we actually expanded into that new audience of helping other high-level SaaS business owners accelerate and launch their program. And instead of like I do a 4-week, this is a 12-week. And I just want to give you an example of what you can do, because once you build something successful, what you want to do is package it up and then sell it or teach it or something. And so you all have something that you do great. Like, you notice none of my stuff is ads and all these other things. That's not my expertise, but I know how to run an operations. I know how to run back office. I know how to work with like VAs and all that stuff that can be turned into automations. And so that's where my genius began. And that's where I started thinking, oh, this is something else I could do. And this month, right? So our launch was March. We're celebrating our year anniversary. Woohoo! So I'm so happy to be here celebrating it with you and really hoping that I'm inspiring you to think about what is possible. There's so much that's possible. This is your moment to create the life and business you love. What is stopping you? It's time. Step up. So a few things I didn't tell you, right? Because you're probably saying, well, yeah, who are you to tell me? You've got all this stuff going on, right? No, guess what? I am a Latina girl from the streets of the Bronx. I was a child who grew up in extreme violence, drugs, abuse, neglect, abandonment, all of the 10 ACEs that I am so passionate about helping people overcome and see. I was raised by parents who struggled with addiction and mental health. Little trigger alert here. At 15 years old, my mother shot and killed my father in self-defense and totally rocked my world. And she lost it and ended up abandoning me with my younger siblings. So at 15 years old, I was there fending, for ourselves and figuring out how we were going to eat and how we were going to do things. And I say today that those are some of the things that make me so damn resilient. And there's so many things that's in each of you, every one of you, that have built a resiliency in you, that if you could just tap into that and make that your fire to want to go out and impact and do the things that you know you want to do, you can. I became homeless after that. I battled with my own addiction, drugs, and here I am 30 years later, sober. And I'm still overcoming my traumatic brain injury and I still was able to do all this. So if I can do this, every single one of you can do this. I think about my little girl inside that felt so alone, so hurt, abandoned, sad, and now I do this for her also. I told you my why was my children. Well, I have my own inner child that has become part of my why. And this girl here needs to be here with you, just like you need to be out there doing what makes you happy. So bold business starts with a bold you. And isn't it time you step into your power? I want to thank you. I know I'm under time, which is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be bold, be unstoppable, be sassy AF. And if you want to connect with me, there's my links. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find me all over the place. God bless, and please go out there and build those lives and businesses that you love.
Thank you so much, Sherist, for sharing all of your amazing insight into how to continue to scale and grow your business profitably. We ultra appreciate it. And so everybody, let's please give Sherist some feedback. Give her some love in the chat. Let her know what you thought. Let her know if anything really resonated with you. After you drop your feedback in the chat, we're going to have a little bit of a break. We're going to be having some commercials, and then I will see you right after that.
I'm just so excited that I got my certification now.
Thank you so much for putting this program together. What a game changer it is.
You guys started putting in some work to make sure that we can not only support our business, but we can help other businesses support themselves.
I learned a lot very rapidly, and it's definitely going to help us continue to grow exponentially.
It opened my eyes to some of the new features that also, since there's always so many things coming out, gave me new ideas on how I could use them.
Wanted to stand out from the crowd and say, like, here, I really know what I'm doing.
I feel a lot more confident that I can just go in and basically build out anything in the system.
If you're considering getting certified for Go High Level, my advice is to just go for it. The certification offered directly through Go High Level validates your experience with the platform, differentiating you from the so-called gurus who haven't put in the work.
I'd say get started today. Honestly, there's no better time to start.
This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life.
And it's been an awesome experience. I've got to meet a lot of great connections.
You have all these agency owners, you have all these users of HighLevel who are just killing it in the space. The speakers, the exhibitors, every single person here is here to mastermind with you.
The company's great, the networking is great, everything's been top tier.
It's such an incredible community, and we're just so grateful that we get to be a part of it.
Let's go! Woo!
Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's prepared for an amazingly insightful session. We have the amazing Ruheene Jaura coming up. And if you don't know Ruheene, you have to. Ruheene is a business strategist and a marketing expert who has spent years really refining how to help leadership grow and really figuring out how to do all the sustainable things that businesses need in order to scale and take things to the next level. She's worked with a lot of leaders across different industries, and she has a huge passion for helping others achieve breakthroughs in their businesses. And honestly, I think that's what's made her into a really impactful speaker and a leader in this industry. I am super excited for Ruheene's insights. I think that we are in for a very insightful session. So please help me welcome Ruheene Jaura.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this session. Thank you for being here. My name's Ruheene. I am the co-founder of HighLevel AI, and I'm super excited and grateful to be here at HighLevel's first ever Women in Software event. Thank you so much for having me, HighLevel. And I'm excited to be able to take this opportunity to share with you a little bit about what I've learned over my 16-year career leading up to founding and launching a product like HighLevel. So I spent a few years of my life in post-production for film, and I also had the opportunity to work with brands like Apple and Marvel and Amazon and some other brands in learning the way they position and message their products and how they do product launches so well. And I'm excited to be here and actually share some of those secrets that I have been collecting and holding close to my heart all these years here for the first time with you today. So with that, let's jump in, let's dive right in, and let's get started. So what we're going to be covering in this session today are the 5 steps to market domination. Now, the AI part, I want to put a quick little disclaimer. The AI itself has nothing to do with the 5 steps. The 5 steps are simply what I've accumulated over these years of working with some of these bigger brands to see what it is that they do in order to grow so fast and be so successful. and see which of those techniques can be applied to smaller businesses and smaller agencies for a similar effect, even on a smaller budget and with fewer resources than these multi-billion-dollar companies have. The AI part simply democratizes some of these approaches and strategies that you typically would need a much larger team to implement. AI has now come along and has just democratized all of these strategies and approaches and made it more accessible to smaller businesses, which is super exciting for me to live in this day and age of watching what AI can do. It's not simply an automation tool. It's not just a gimmick. It's not something to, be afraid of. If you're one of those people that has maybe not embraced AI yet, I promise you this session is not going to be overwhelming in the sense it's not going to be another flashy thing that you can do with AI where you're wondering, do I really need to spend my time on this or not? It's all going to be optional, and it's going to be very real strategies and approaches to using AI simply with one goal in mind, and that is to replicate these strategies that multi-billion-dollar companies are using. All right, so with that, let's jump right in. And let's talk about the one company or brand or product that comes to mind when you think about market domination. Now, I don't know about you, but the one brand that jumps out at me is Apple, right? So let's talk about how does Apple do it, right? Have you ever wondered how Apple sells out every product that they put on the market? Let's just take the iPhone, for example. Have you ever thought about how every iPhone that they've launched so far, some of them have been good releases, some of them have been meh. Honestly, they don't have a lot of updates or upgrades compared with their previous versions, or more importantly, with some of the other devices that are being released at the same time in the market. For example, some of the Samsung launches that have happened in parallel with Apple, but Apple still always seems to dominate the market, right? Now, if you've ever wondered, how does Apple do it? And how you can do it for your own business, right? What if I told you that the core secret for all of these big brands, and specifically Apple, since that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is this keen understanding of their customer. That's it. Their big secret is being able to understand their customers in a way that their competitors are not being able to. And it's this one simple thing that they have mastered, and it's what's been able to put them at the forefront of everything that they've launched and their entire industry. So let's kick this off with a quote from Steve Jobs himself. He says, "Get closer than ever to your customers. So close that you can smell them." Okay, I'm kidding. So close that you can tell them what they need well before they even realize it themselves. Right? So think of your customers and how deeply you need to get to know them, like you know your best friend or spouse, right? You don't know them as just what we think of customer avatars, right? We don't know them on a level where we just know what their background is, what their demographic is, and maybe some of their pain points, and maybe where our products and services can solve a pain point for them or create a solution for them. Right? We know them as these complex beings. And so when it comes to convincing our spouse or best friend to watch a movie with us that maybe, you know that it's going to be more interesting to you than to them, you probably know exactly how to present it to them and convince them to still go with you, right? And hopefully without a lot of bribing. So we want you to get to know your customers on a level that is similar to how well you know your best friends. But before we jump right in, quick introduction of who I am and how I know all of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I spent 8 years of my career in visual effects and post-production for movies for Disney and Marvel when they were still separate entities, and Cirque du Soleil and some other things. So these are a few screenshots of my IMDb profile. You can look me up. There's a few more in there, but so that's what I did for 8 years of my career. That's where I learned the art of storytelling. And I've spent 3 years of my career on product launches for the likes of Apple, Amazon, Motorola, Windows, Vista for Microsoft. And don't miss the little pine sol there on the corner. That's my little claim to fame. I always love talking about that because that was the one product launch that I was a part of. That wasn't a tech launch. It was a fragrance for pine sol. So anyway, quick little side note there. But today we're going to be focusing on Apple's stupid simple messaging. I like to call it stupid simple, but don't confuse stupid simple with stupid. It is far from stupid. It is genius. So Apple's stupid simple messaging, and the reason why I have an iPhone 5 and not a later iPhone on the screen right now is because I was a part of the iPhone 5 launch back in 2012. It was a long time ago, but I have watched every single Apple launch and specifically iPhone launch since then. And they have used the same techniques and the same approaches towards their messaging and positioning and launching for every one of these iPhones that they've released to the market. So it really goes back to what I learned back in 2012 and how I've pressure tested some of these techniques and ideas that I learned from them over the years with different companies and different launches. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So the first thing you want to think about is that Apple doesn't sell you products. They don't sell you features. Yes, in their launches, you'll see them announce all the different pixels and features and things in every one of their iPhones. But that's like at the end of it, right? That's what they're supposed to do on those keynote launches and presentations. But when you think about what you're buying from Apple, what they really sold you on is this vision that anything that you buy from them is going to be an extension of yourself, right? That's really what you're buying. They've sold you this vision that tech can be simple, uncomplicated, and beautiful. And their positioning for the iPhone 5, which is the launch that I was a part of, was the best thing to happen to the iPhone since the iPhone. Now, that's what I call stupid simple, right? And the thing that really caught me off guard when I was working on this campaign with them is that I have seen a lot of launches. I've seen a lot of campaigns. I see a lot of bigger companies, smaller companies with their launches, and I have never seen something this simple. And it completely caught me off guard because I was like, that sounds like something, I don't know, some teenager saying to their friend about the iPhone that that they just got for themselves, the latest iPhone. It doesn't sound like it was created by a company who knows all about this fancy tech that they're releasing to the market. And that's really what caught my attention and got me obsessed with how Apple approaches their messaging, right? And I cover this on a different presentation. If you've been to one of my other presentations on the positioning and messaging framework that I've also created and implemented over these years, that's on a different presentation, not going to cover that today, but the concepts are still the same, right? It's the idea of how Apple really gets to the core, to the heart of what their customers are saying, not just saying to the business, but what they're saying amongst themselves. That's how they get to the core of what needs to be in their messaging. And this iPhone 5, we released it over a 3-day weekend, and they made $3 billion over that launch weekend. Just in a single weekend, they made $3 billion. All right, so we come back to the question of how do you actually come up with a tagline that is that stupidly simple, though, right? And it's harder than you might think. There's a lot more work that goes into it. Because the simpler you're trying to make something, and if you've been in tech long enough, you know that it's actually harder to make something simple than it is to make something complex. All right, so the answer is in 5 steps, right? Which is the title of this presentation, and that's what you're going to learn with me today. So these aren't just random 5 steps that I Googled for you guys today and put on some slides and I'm just going to throw it at you. These are 5 steps that have been pressure tested by me over the past, 12, 13 years now. They've been pressure tested in multiple product launches for Amazon, Motorola, and Microsoft. They've been pressure tested on business launches. So from a kids' play store that we helped launch from scratch to launching an online business arm for a finance brokerage to stopping a bagel shop franchise from losing its entire business when the pandemic hit and actually helping them through the first few months of the pandemic, opening up not just foreclosing, which is what they were on the verge of doing, but opening up a whole new franchise and making $80,000 in their first month. And my personal favorite, this is something that I like to do. It's a little secret addiction of mine, which is I like to pressure test anything that I'm using in my actual businesses on Shark Tank videos. So I will watch a Shark Tank episode and I will apply my frameworks and everything I'm going to be sharing with you today to the pitch that I'm seeing that these guys are making on screen. And I like to try and predict. It's a game I play with myself. I've been doing it for years. I like to predict if they're going to make an offer or not, if they're going to get an offer from the sharks or not. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not kidding you. Okay, we'll say 8 times out of 10, I've been right. Okay. So these have been really pressure tested in the real world and with Shark Tank. And so you know that this stuff is real and it's been pressure tested for 13 years at this point, since 2012. And like I mentioned, we're also going to talk about AI, but again, think of AI as this optional step, right? It's this secret weapon. It's not this overhyped thing that you have to use. Otherwise, you're going to become redundant. I see a lot of that messaging on the market right now. And I want to caution you not to go with that, because what I see happening is anybody who's jumping into AI simply because it's the latest, greatest thing to do, and if you're not talking about it, you're going to get left behind, is actually going to get left behind. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. I've been around long enough to see how these fads and overhyped things work. And what goes up must come down, and it will come down. The hype will come down. So unless you're using AI in a way that is actually getting results for your business and for your clients, it's going to be a short-term thing. So again, really urge you, no matter how you feel about AI, whether you've embraced it and you've gone all in on voice AI and employee AI and all of those things, or if you're just kind of on the fence trying to figure out whether you should use AI and how you should use it, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is probably stuff that you haven't heard of before, unless you've come to one of my previous workshops, but it is going to be stuff that you are going to really see the value of how, again, I said this before, but how AI is democratizing multi-billion-dollar marketing and messaging approaches for the small business owner. All right. And so, like I said, it's really hard to come up with something simple. And in Steve Jobs' words, again, it takes a lot of hard work to make something simple, right? And sometimes what I like to say, and of course I'm kidding, it takes a lot of AI to make something simple. And again, this is just me kidding about how AI has been able to help us leverage some of these bigger techniques, right? And make them simple for us. But really what I'm trying to say is that it takes a lot of customer obsession and AI to make something simple for the small business owner today. Today, that is, if you are focused just on your customers and you are obsessed with continuing to learn more and more about them, I promise you, you are going to be ahead of the game. All right, so let's dive into these 5 steps now. All right. Step 1 is talk to your customers. I know that this sounds really obvious, but you may be surprised at how many businesses I have seen that are trying to come up with these tactics and tricks on how you can run your business and be really successful and shortcut your success route by not talking to your customers. And I don't know about you, but I will say that I have never, ever in my 16-year career, ever seen a company that has been able to dominate its market without actually talking to their customers. And I'm going to challenge you today that if you know of any brands or businesses that have been able to do this, please reach out to me. I would love to know, because I love to know these things. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. But I personally have just never seen one, right? So please, if you're not talking to your customers, please start doing that today, right? And talking to your customers can look like many different things. Actually, one thing that I just realized is not on the screen is conferences, right? If you're going to conferences, if you're going to meetups, if you're going to any of HighLevel SaaSpreneur events, you're talking to people. Now, they may not be your customers. So I really want you to focus on which events are you going to where your customers are actually there, right? So but really think about, where are you talking to your customers? Are you maybe talking to them over Zoom? Do you do consult calls? Do you do sales calls? All of those things count, right? In the top right corner here, I have interviews. And that's really what larger companies focus on. Bigger brands, multi-billion-dollar brands, Silicon Valley businesses, they're all focusing on things called customer interviews, which they do very regularly by their product market team or through their product marketing teams. And something called win-loss interviews, where they do interviews they conduct these interviews with their customers pretty regularly to understand why somebody bought or didn't buy from them. Now, until that's automated by AI, which it will be one day, that may not be something that you can do as a small business, or your customers may not be able to do it as small businesses themselves. But again, the idea is simply to talk to your customers. So get on the phone, talk to them, get on Zoom calls and talk to them, go to conferences, go meet them. If you're a home service business, you're already talking to your customers. So whatever form that is, you want to go talk to your customers. And of course, in addition to actually speaking with your customers, you can also do focus groups. That's been great for us. Surveys, of course, social media. So there's different ways that you can speak and talk with your customers. Step two, okay, so we covered talking to your customers. Step two is simply recording your conversations. Now, depending on your niche and who you serve, this may or may not be legit or legal, so make sure you're doing this legally. But for online businesses, that may be called transcripts, right? For those of us who are getting on Zoom calls with our leads, with our prospects, with our customers, you simply need to record those Zoom calls, and that's all it is. If you're doing workshops or webinars, please do record those workshops and webinars, and don't just put them on a drive and forget about them. Understand how much gold there is in them. Emails, right? If you're not, maybe you're a home service business and maybe you're not doing workshops. Actually, even as a home service business, depending on again how you're serving your audience, but you could be doing workshops. But at least you're emailing your customers, right? Save those. If they're on social media, everybody's on social media these days. Make sure that you are recording what they're saying, what your customers are saying. Now, social media for me is one of the last layers that I will draw information from, simply because I don't believe people are their authentic selves and really speaking to people on social media the way they would with their friends, right? They're more likely to share something personal with you on a one-on-one call because it's a safer space than they will be on sharing something on social media. Even if your customers are sharing something personal on social media, more times than not, it's actually reworded and finessed in a way where they feel like they're going to get the reaction that they want, whether that's positive or negative. So anyway, so social media, you want to take it with a little grain of salt, but whatever you're doing, make sure that you are recording what your customers are saying. And if there are transcripts, just keep them in like text files or something. And if you are, recording your emails and your social media, have a Google Doc. Just start copying and pasting. You see things that people are saying where you're like, oh, that's interesting, the way they just worded that, the way they're kind of describing what they're looking for, what they're struggling with. Save that on a Google Doc. Okay, I promise this is not as much work as it's going to sound initially. If you've never done this before, if you've never done customer research, yes, it is going to sound like, oh my God, this is a lot of work that I don't have time for. But if you do nothing else in your business, I can guarantee you that this is the one thing that will actually move the needle for you. It's going to help you create offers that your customers actually want. It's going to help you pitch those offers in a way that you've never been able to do before. Like there's so many advantages, and we're going to cover that as well. All right, let's move on. Step 3. Here's where you want to analyze those conversations. So you're talking to your customers, you're recording your conversations, and now you want to analyze those conversations. Now, this is where I may start to lose you if you're like, oh my God, analysis, data analysis, I don't want to do any of that. It's not as hard as it seems, right? And this is where I'm going to show you how AI can actually help you to do a lot of this without a lot of pain or manual effort or hiring a team or hiring someone to do this for you. You can do this really easily with AI. Now, this is an example of how we do it. We use HighLevel, which is simply an AI app that helps us understand our customers and our positioning and our market strategy and all of that stuff. So what we do is we just, as you can see on the screen, we drag and drop call transcripts. It will pull out the key themes that the AI is finding in these transcripts. You can select a theme, and then it will highlight in these transcripts exactly what your customers have said, the words and phrases that they used to describe that theme, right? So now you might be thinking, why do I need to do all this? I'm great. My messaging works great. My customers love me. I've never had to do this. Not for me. Well, first of all, let me tell you this. When you talk to a customer or a prospect and you describe their pain point, they immediately feel heard, right? They feel like you get them, which is great. But when you speak to those pain points, when you speak about those pain points in your customer's own words, using their language, their words, and their phrases, that's when they start to believe that you have the solution. And this is before you've even pitched your offer to them, before you've even started talking about what it is that you do. As long as you are describing their pain points in their language, their words, they are going to feel not just heard, but they're going to feel seen. They're going to feel understood, right? And that is where they decide that you have the solution before you've even told them that you have an offer or a solution for them. That's where the magic is. And some of the side effects that you'll see, we're just talking to your customers and learning to speak their language back to them, mirroring their language back to them. You'll also see higher customer satisfaction. Again, it just comes down to the psychology. Even if you don't change your offers, being able to talk to your customers in a way where they feel seen and understood by you, Customer satisfaction instantly goes up. Your product or offer or service adoption instantly goes up. You'll see higher conversions, lower cost per conversions. You'll see higher customer retention. Your brand reputation will automatically skyrocket, right? You'll start getting more glowing, positive 5-star reviews. And if you are a business that has been struggling with content, you will also see that it's so much easier once you nail that messaging, you nail the way your customers are speaking, you'll see that creating sticky content that continues to build that trust becomes easier and easier. All right, step 4. You convert those insights now into customer avatars. And this is again where, traditionally at larger companies, they're using expensive product marketing teams and, spending weeks to, if not months on this stuff. You can be doing this at a smaller scale for your business simply by using AI. So this is where that AI element comes in, right? So in the previous step, we talked about pulling out themes. You can also do this in ChatGPT, by the way. So we use HighLevel. That's what I just showed you. I'm going to be showing you a little bit more of that, but you can simply use ChatGPT. Just upload your transcripts into ChatGPT, into a conversation, and ask ChatGPT, hey, can you tell me what are the common themes that are coming up in these call transcripts with my customers, right? And ChatGPT does a really good job. Now, ChatGPT is a little bit more manual. It won't highlight, the themes for you, and it's not an easy way to store it in one place. It'll get lost in the chat eventually. So you'll want to make sure that you remember what chat this was in. But again, if you're using ChatGPT and that's your tool of choice, or any AI tool, really, as long as you can upload your transcripts and ask the AI to pull out the themes for you, that's really what you need. Okay. Now in this, you're going to convert those themes and insights into customer avatars, right? So again, you can do this in ChatGPT. This is a customer avatar that we have in HighLevel, and you'll see that they're very, very detailed. Because if you remember, we talked about knowing and understanding your customers on this deep, deep level that is more like how you know your spouse or your best friend, right? Not just a random prospect that you've never met before, and now you have assumptions that they're going to be like everybody else you've talked to, right? You want to understand your customer avatars like they're your best friends. You want to understand your customers, rather, like they're your best friends. And the way you do that is through hyper detailed, personal customer avatars. So again, if you're using something like ChatGPT, you've got the themes, you've got the insights from those transcripts. The next thing you're going to do is simply ask ChatGPT to create a customer avatar that uses that language, right? So now you'll see, we don't just talk about demographics. Most customer avatars are just talking about demographics and pain points and maybe, the solution that they're looking for. But what we're looking at is, their deepest struggles and fears. What is their immediate goal to be accomplished? The immediate task to be accomplished. What are their dreams and goals? What's their buying behavior? What does their lifestyle look like? What are their values? Like, these are the things that you need to know to get to know somebody on a personal level, right? What are their shopping habits? What are their favorite brands and products? What is their price sensitivity? So you know how to price your offers for this customer avatar. What is their inner dialogue, right? Do you know what they are thinking and what that dialogue inside their heads looks like? And then based on all of this information, then the AI will also give you some insights into a solid marketing strategy and pricing strategy for this customer avatar. So again, this is in HighLevel. If you're using HighLevel, everything's just in there. It's really automatic. You click a few buttons and you get your insights, which is what we call voice of customer. And you get these hyper detailed customer avatars, right? Which you can, by the way, speak to, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. But if you're in ChatGPT or any other AI tool, you've got your insights. Now just ask it to convert that into a customer avatar. And go ahead and take a screenshot of this, because you want to make sure that in your prompt, you'll want to mention what needs to be included in your customer avatar. So make sure all of these points are included. Okay. All right. Step 5 is, like I said, you can talk to your customer avatar. So this is step 5. This is where you really want to role play with your AI. You want your AI to role play basically and become your customer avatar. So you can simply ask, what is it that will make you buy? What is it that you're struggling with? And if you're just using a random customer avatar, this is not going to work as beautifully as it does with a hyper detailed customer avatar. Again, the customer avatar that we just looked at, it's like knowing somebody. Like, think about this, right? If you were to create a customer avatar for your friend, it would look more like this, maybe even more detailed, but it would look at least something like this, right? It wouldn't just be demographics and pain points. So again, you want to make sure that your customer avatars are this level of detailed before you ask the AI to become this avatar and role play with you. Because here's the thing, unless you have customers and prospects that are happy to get a call from you at any time of the day or night and answer a question like, hey, I'm trying to come up with a new offer because I really need to make a little bit more money. So what can I put together that's going to make you actually want to buy from me? I don't have those customers. I like to believe that our customers love us, but we don't have those customers. So if you do, that's great. But if you don't, which most of us don't, as much as our customers love us, really, this is how you can role play with AI and ask your customer avatar, hey, so I heard you're struggling with this. This is what we do. What else would you want to see in it? Would you want to try this out? Why or why not? Right? And get some insights before you spend any time or energy or money on actually launching your offers. So this is a product playbook for an imaginary demo white label high level CRM called Ryzen. Okay. And really what I want to show you here is how I'm going to apply those 5 steps, or at least the last 3 steps that we just looked at in the 5-step process. Remember that steps 1 and steps 2 are simply talking to your customers and recording those conversations. So assuming you've done that, I'm going to show you how we take our call transcripts, and we have the AI in HighLevel. Again, you can use any tool. I'm going to show you how we do this in HighLevel. You just upload your transcripts and let the AI do all the rest of the work for you. So remember, step 3 is analyzing your conversations. So I'm going to go into voice of customer, which is what we call it. I'm going to add a voice of customer, and you're going to see how easy this is. Let's give it a name so we know who these customers were. Who are we analyzing? You can get more descriptive than that, but I'm just going to say small business owners. You can put a date on it. Really, whatever's going to help you understand who you just analyzed here. I'm going to click on upload 5 to 10 transcripts. That's really the range in which you're going to get the best results. And I'm simply going to drag and drop my transcripts over now. And it's going to work. It's analyzing my transcripts for me. And as soon as it's done, we'll go ahead and extract our voice of customer, which means we're going to analyze it for all the common themes that are coming up. Okay, now I am simply going to click on extract voice of customer. Now let it do its thing again. It usually takes a few seconds. It can even take up to a minute, so give it a little bit of time. And as soon as it's done, we'll take a look at how you can pull out these themes. It's really cool to see. All right, let's take a look at what it's given us. So it has brought in my market segment. So that's just from what I gave it in my brand playbook. So it's just automatically pull that in. And here it's given me these 2 key themes that seem to be coming up in these transcripts, right? So the need for efficient and integrated systems. Now, these are transcripts from imaginary small business owners. I'm not using real customer transcripts for this demo, simply to protect the privacy of our actual customers. But you can see how it quickly pulled out, common themes from these transcripts. So it's telling me that these customers, these small businesses, it's a range of small businesses. Some of them are local, some of them are online. But the common themes that are coming up are this need for efficient and integrated systems and overcoming time and complexity barriers, which sounds pretty common, right? I actually talk to a lot of small businesses that actually deal with exactly this. All right, so let's pick one of these and see, okay, I want to understand what kind of words and phrases, what are they actually saying to describe this need for overcoming time and complexity barriers. And it's showed me here that they're saying it's overwhelming. I don't have the time to manage all of it effectively. I don't have time to learn another system. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. You've probably heard it as well. Don't have a system in place. And this one actually. So I feel like overcoming time and complexity. I do think that automation will make things feel too impersonal. It kind of goes with that because it's a complexity barrier. You feel like by introducing automation or AI, that things are suddenly going to feel too complex for your customers' businesses, right? So I'm going to add that in there as well because I think that's relevant. So you can see that you can actually edit this as well. It gives you as much control as you want or don't want. But the idea is to make it super clear to you and your team, if you have one, what are the things that your customers are saying and what kind of language do you want to use in your own messaging, right? Whether that's content or whether you're just launching a new product or you're creating copy for a sales page. These are the kind of words and phrases you want to be using. All right, now I'm going to go back into my product playbook for Ryzen. I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to pull that voice of customer in. Okay. Again, remember, voice of customer simply means the data that you've collected on what your customers are saying, right? It's their voice. What are they saying in their own words? So I'm going to pull in small business owners. It'll let me create up to 3 avatars. I'm just going to stick to one because I want to show you these hyper detailed customers based on the insights that it's been able to draw out from your actual conversations. Now, you can probably see if you're just using ChatGPT to say, hey, this is the kind of person that I target. This is my customer avatar. Can you create content for me? Right? You can imagine that that's going to sound exactly like everybody else that's targeting that same market segment is going to sound, right? That content is going to sound exactly the same. Every strategy or every messaging that you ask ChatGPT to create for you, it's going to sound just like everybody else. But when you start to actually personalize your messaging and your content using actual words and phrases from your customers and your transcripts, it just completely changes the language that you use, right? And it becomes a whole lot more personal. And that is what is going to help you dominate your market. Okay, so it's created this very detailed customer avatar for me. Her name is Mia. Let's take a quick look to see who she is and how I can use her to make sure that my offer isn't missing some key pieces. Okay, so here, let's see. She's a 33-year-old woman. She lives in Seattle. Okay, that's great. Let's see what she does. She owns a small boutique and constantly balances managing her shop but spending time with her family. So that's what's important to her. She's passionate about making her boutique the go-to spot in town. Okay, she feels overwhelmed by the demands of running her business. Great. Okay, her struggles and fears is around efficient and integrated systems for her boutique. Again, this is where it starts to pull in some of the words that are coming from these transcripts. And you're going to see actual language from your customers start to appear in these customer avatars, right? Send out emails. She wants to run Facebook and Instagram ads. She wants to keep up with customer reviews, and she wants to manage all of it effectively. And that's what she struggles with. And she knows that she's losing business because of not having a good system in place. Okay, so definitely worth going through this in detail, but in the interest of time and to keep this presentation on point and within my time limit here, I'm going to skip through some of these. And really what I want to show you now is I want to focus on her price sensitivity. So she's highly price sensitive, mindful of her budget. Okay, so she's not going to go for like something too premium. And, you know, I want to familiarize myself with her inner dialogue. This is like gold in your customer avatars. All right, what I'm going to do though is understand, is there anything that she wants to see in this offer of mine that I may be missing, right? A key piece. So let's give her a call and let's just see what she says. One little note here, you can also do this with ChatGPT. So you could tell it to become and role play with you and pretend to be this customer avatar and, you know, just have a goal of being helpful in answering your questions so you can understand what's missing in your offers. You can also test your sales pitches this way, by the way. But in this, I'm just going to speak to it. I'm going to go back and forth, and then we'll see what we're missing in our offer.
Hello, who is this?
Hi, Mia. My name's Ruheene, and I was told by a common friend of ours that you own a small boutique. Is that correct?
Yes, that's me. What's this about?
Awesome. Well, this common friend of ours was actually telling me about how you've been struggling with managing your boutique and growing it with the right tools and systems. Does that sound about right?
A bit. What do you do?
So we actually have a system that I wanted to see if it would be helpful to you at all. It helps you run your Facebook and Instagram ads. It helps you send out emails, and it helps you keep up with customer reviews and manage all of it effectively and in a single place. It really automates all of that and integrates with existing platforms so you can scale your business while keeping your costs down.
Okay, that sounds interesting, but I've heard similar things before. Every tool we look at seems expensive, and I'm not looking to spend a fortune on another system that doesn't work.
I completely get that. Can you tell me what would feel like a comfortable price range, since we're talking about costs, if you were to find a system that's going to help you grow your boutique business and manage all the different moving parts easily and effectively?
Well, I'm looking for something that feels like it's good value. I don't want to spend a fortune, but I'm willing to pay for something that actually works. Maybe something that's around a few $100s a month, but only if I'm sure it will actually make a difference, you know, with a trial period or something.
Awesome. Well, we have a 14-day trial with this system and it's only $3.99 a month. So I think that would fit nicely into your budget. And really what it will help you do is keep your system super simple. Is that something that you want to check out?
Okay, a 14-day trial, that's good. $399 a month sounds reasonable, but I'm still not fully convinced. What exactly does the system do, and how does it keep it simple for me? Because I don't have the time to manage it, you know?
Absolutely. I completely get that. Well, it's got AI built into it. And so it will automate all of your conversations with your customers. It will automate your tasks and it will also text your customers back when needed. So you don't have to do any of that manually.
Okay, AI, that sounds interesting. Automating conversations could be a real time saver, especially with those customer reviews. But will it feel too impersonal? I want to make sure my customers feel like they're talking to a human, not a robot.
Absolutely. Can you tell me what that means to you? How would you want your AI to respond as a human? What are you looking for?
Well, I'd want it to use a friendly, casual tone, almost like a personal assistant, instead of something robotic. Also, it should be able to remember customer preferences and details from past interactions, so it feels like it cares about them.
Great point. And what else would you want your AI to do? Like, apart from having conversations with your customers, would you want it to take over appointment booking or chat, customer support? What kind of things are you looking for?
Appointment booking would be fantastic. Also, if it could handle common customer service questions, that would free up so much of my time. I really need something to help me convert those inquiries into actual clients. You know how frustrating it is when people inquire, we follow up, and then they just go silent?
Absolutely. And you're not the only one who's dealing with that. I promise. Small businesses everywhere have the same problem. And so I really want to improve that for you and show you how easy it is to actually automate all these conversations and actually hear back from your customers because you're not spending manual time and following up constantly.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. Automating customer service and booking and having an AI that feels personal. I still have some hesitations, but I'm open to learning more. What's the next step?
Well, can you tell me about some of these hesitations and what you're worried about so I can make sure that those are not a concern anymore?
Well, my main worry is that it won't be as easy to use as you say. I'm not tech savvy, and the thought of learning a new system makes me cringe. Also, I need to know how well it integrates with MailChimp and Google Calendar because I rely on them heavily.
Well, what if we could replace both of those platforms and give you something that's even easier to use in our system? So it has not just the AI, but it also has email marketing all built in.
Wait, are you saying that your system does email marketing too? And it's easier to use than MailChimp? That's something I would definitely be interested in. How would that even work?
Well, it's all connected. So you don't have to have MailChimp and a dozen other software. Everything's just connected in an all-in-one system. And it comes with something called AI employees. So you have AI in every part of the system to help you automate everything.
Okay, AI employees, that's a new one. So instead of just automating conversations, it automates tasks too. Like even email marketing, that's interesting. I'm intrigued. How do you see all the analytics in one place?
Well, for each email, you can see all the stats, how many people clicked on it, how many people opened it. And then there's also some more advanced settings where you can actually see how many people clicked on a specific link and when. So a lot of control that you can have if you want it. It can also be as simple as just setting it up once and then tracking it in one place.
Okay, so I can track all the details from email clicks to specific links. And it can also be kept simple. That's good. It's like you're taking all the different pieces of my business and making them fit together. This sounds like it could really make a difference for my business. So, what's involved with this 14-day trial? Is there any training or onboarding support?
Yes. What kind of onboarding support would you wish you had with implementing a system like this?
Well, I'd love something that doesn't feel like I'm doing it alone. Maybe a dedicated onboarding specialist who can walk me through it step by step and answer my questions. I'm looking for quick implementation without a ton of training.
All right, so I'm going to stop it there just because you can see that this can go on for a while and there's just so many insights that I already got from her, right? So now I know AI is something that she would be interested in. We didn't even talk about all these features, but really what she told me is I heard over and over again, she just wants everything to be simple. She wants a lot of hand holding. She wants somebody to walk her through the whole system and connect all the dots for her. And she wants everything to feel personal. And so as long as I have those things, I mean, what I would do at this point is actually add those in, like a dedicated account manager for her, right? So that's something that is going to want to make it easier for me to sell to this customer. I mean, she was happy at $3.99 before I even told her that she's going to get all these other things, and I'm going to be able to replace MailChimp for her. So again, so much gold in those few minutes of conversation, and you can spend time and really dig deeper and go through every feature in your offer to see what resonates, what she doesn't care about, and then focus only on the things that she actually cares about. Right? Trust me, when you do it this way, you are not spending as much time and energy and money on testing out new offers and A/B testing random things just to see what's going to work and what's not going to work with your actual live human customers. My last quote from Steve Jobs: your customers don't care about you. They don't care about your product or your service. They care about themselves, right? Their dreams, their goals. Now they will care much more if you help them reach their goals. And to do that, you must understand their goals as well as their needs and deepest desires. How do you get to know your best friend? How do you get to know your spouse? You talk to them, right? Which is what all 5 steps in this process are all super obsessed with, just speaking to your customers. That's really it. All right. And doing it at scale. That's where the AI comes in, is doing it at scale, doing this for multiple conversations and keeping a pulse on your market as your market evolves. All right. Your market isn't static. Your customers' needs are changing and evolving as things in their lives change and evolve. And you need to keep a track of what's happening. My one advice to you is never be the kind of CEO that's too busy to talk to their customers. It is the best way to lose touch with what actually matters to your audience and completely lose the game. So with that, as long as you're talking to your actual customers and then refining your offers and your sales pitches and everything with your customer avatars, again, that's where AI comes in. Now you don't need expensive tools or expensive trainers that the larger companies have in order to get similar results at a smaller scale for your business, right? You can leverage AI to understand the actual conversations you're having with your customers. Please note that this AI is in no way a replacement to talk to your actual customers. That is the first step, and it will always be the first step, is to actually talk to real customers, right? It's just that from there, you're building those real customers and the conversations you're having into customer avatars so that now you can use AI and leverage AI to impersonate, if that's the right word, or role play and become your customer avatar, so you can start to bounce ideas off of your customer avatars before you take anything into the real world and start to bounce these ideas off of actual customers. So again, 5 steps, really quick and easy. Talk to your customers, record your calls and your conversations, analyze those conversations to see what the common themes and messaging and language are. Turn that language into a customer avatar for your business, or up to 3 customer avatars. You don't want to go too segmented on these. I see people trying to create 5 different customer avatars. That's a great way to dilute your messaging and not have it land with anyone. But you want to be mindful of always sticking to 1 to 3 customers. And once you do that, role play. Hopefully that blew your mind, because I know that a lot of folks aren't even thinking about using AI for this. Nobody's talking about it. So hopefully I've given you something of value today. And with that, I'm going to give you one bonus step. If you're a high-level agency, I know that you're always thinking about not just growing your own business and your own agency. You're also thinking about how to grow your customers' businesses so that they know that they have found somebody that they can stick with for a while, right? Then you're not worried about the next high-level agency also offering the same tools and the same apps to them, because now you've established yourself as the authority in their lives and their businesses. Again, this is all about market domination. Don't forget. So if you want to truly dominate your market, you're thinking about not just how to get success like this for your business, you're also looking at how you can share this with your customers. So again, as a bonus step, share these 5 steps with your customers. Build your authority so that your customers start to get success and they never look anywhere else. Doesn't matter what your prices are. Right? If you want to build custom GPTs into ChatGPT and do something similar, go for it. It really just comes down to how comfortable you already are using AI. If you want an app that's just got everything, this is what some of our GHL agencies who are using HighLevel, this is the comments and the feedback that we get. But again, the one thing that I want you to take away from this is understanding how you can leverage these 5 steps for your agency, become super customer obsessed. That's really the key and the secret to everything. And then share that with your customers. Okay. And if you have any questions at all, I would love to hear from you. Any good, positive, negative feedback, any questions that come up after watching this session, please do reach out to me. I love hearing from you. I love hearing about your ideas and thoughts and what you're doing with your business. You can book a call with me at talktoruheene.com. You can email me, ruheene@highlevel.ai. I do tend to get overwhelmed with email, I will say, and do sometimes miss my emails. So better to either book a call with me or send me a DM. And that is at Sassy Marketer. I have the AA highlighted simply because it's not SASSY. It's SAASY.marketer. So with that, thank you again for spending your time with me. I hope this was valuable, and please do reach out. I would love to hear from you. Bye for now.
Wow, that was insightful. Thank you so much, Ruheene. I cannot believe that we are wrapping up day 4 of our Next Level Women in Software event. Tomorrow is the finale, and I am beyond excited. I think that even though tomorrow's the finale, don't let that lose the momentum. We have 2 amazing speakers lined up. This past week, I think, has been very transformative. I'm super excited to see what everybody says, how this has been impacting you, the things that you will have learned, etc., etc. Please, please, please give us your feedback in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're learning. And if you have absolutely any questions at all, reach out to the team, the HighLevel team. We're here for you. We got 24/7 support, success, all that jazz. If you're not signed up to HighLevel yet, I want to see you in the community. So get signed up. But for everybody else who already is super smart, let's take some actions. Let's write down all of our insights though. And then let's rest a bit. And I will see you tomorrow for our very last day for this Next Level Women's in Software event. Thank you all for joining us for another jam-packed, insightful, amazing, incredible day. Thank you again, Carrie and Ruheene, for all of the amazing insights that y'all had. I am so excited. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.